Hi, loves. Okay, we have a special conversation for you today. This is going to be really pertinent for you if you have been called to walk the path of what I call divine feminine in business, starting your own spiritually based business, bringing your spiritual gifts to the world, receiving an income for it. And I'm here today with my sister and former client, Megan, and we're going to talk all about the path of divine feminine in business, what she's been learning since walking it, and like a lot more. So I'm excited. So Megan's a yoga teacher. She is an embodiment coach. And I'd also love for you to share a little bit more about how you, like who you are, how you show up in the world before we really get into
Okay,
it.
cool. Thanks for having me, Beth. It's so nice to be here. And I also am part of your community, so I love the Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon, so feels good to be here. And yeah, so a little bit about myself. I've been on, I'd say, my path of awakening for quite a while. Started with yoga when I was probably 20 and just like deep dove into it, loved it, and then stumbled upon the priestess path a couple, like maybe 3 years ago, and have just really felt my calling through those two paths in particular. And so the way that I show up in the world is through my soul-based business, Wild Moon, which that has helped me to create in Divine Feminine Business. And the way I show up in that is I teach yoga. So I do in-person classes, and I'm starting to plan some retreats, which is really exciting. And then on the internet, I work specifically with women, and I have a temple that I steward called Wild Moon Sisters. And through that, I really support women to connect more deeply with their bodies and their wombs.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. It's been such a cool experience watching your journey, watching everyone in, that I've worked with journeys, but so Megan was in the first round of Divine Feminine in Business, which is a mentorship program that I offer, and that ended about a year ago. So I'm able to watch many of the women who've gone through that, integrate it, go through a year-long cycle after. So it's been super fun. I'm sure for you as well, watching the other sisters who are in. So talk to me a little bit about where you were a couple years ago. So I know that you were feeling that call. You'd been on the path for a while, your spiritual path, and you were really feeling this call to share and, getting these downloads. I'm not sure exactly how it showed up for you, but probably was getting these downloads of you need to share your spiritual gifts or share these stories or whatever, that was. So I've known you for years, but a couple years ago is that moment sort of when we connected over hey, I feel like maybe I need some support here. So talk to me about where you were then, how you were showing up, what was going on in your mind, and then the progression from going through mentorship, not just with me, but I know with, one of our shared mentors, priestess mentors, and investing in yourself, learning more, committing more. What's that process been like?
Okay, yeah. So 2 years ago, I would have been working full time as a youth outreach worker, doing that about 40 hours a week. And then on most of my spare time was devoting time into Wild Moon, my business, but just kind of shooting at the stars, not really knowing what to do because I didn't take business training. I didn't know how to create a business. And honestly, I had just been watching your free trainings that you had been putting out to the world. And so had been kind of following the models that you had given off of those free gift offerings. And so I was getting to this point of, I am so tired. I don't do my passions anymore. I love to rock climb. I love to be outside. But all of my spare time was being devoted to getting pretty frustrated of just not seeing results. And I was like, how do I live my passions and do those things that fill me up, work a full-time job, plus I have this burning desire to be doing this offering. And it's it was this thing that I just could not quiet. I couldn't just put it down because I knew my husband was going through school. And so it's I knew there was an end date to that. And it's oh, it would have made more sense if I would have just waited until that time came, and then I wouldn't have been so busy. But it was this burning passion where it just felt like it had to come up and through me. And so then I felt the call to step into Divine Feminine in business. And through that process, that helped me to just ground a lot and to chill out a lot. I have a lot of fire in me, and I have a lot of like, you know, like that go, like I will do it kind of mode. And so working with Divine Feminine in business really helped me to bring in that Divine Feminine into the business, which is what I really needed to do, was to just kind of like chill out and trust and not get in overdoing action mode all of the time, which I can be really good at. And so I feel like what I really grasped onto in our mentorship time together was first, like, do the healing work and just spend the time going deep within myself and working through some of those inner wounds that were really at play in my life. And then to also just slow down, tune into my soul more, because I had a pretty deep spiritual practice at that time, but I wasn't integrating it into the business world or into my business. So it was learning how to marry those two and bring those together. And so honestly, I felt like during that time, I created, like, I kind of like chilled out my creations a little bit more, and I was still creating, but I felt like I needed to just like connect more with my soul and listen more deeply to what wanted to be birthed through me, and to really lean into those more empty presence practices that I already had, but like leaning into them for downloading guidance and ideas of what to do moving forward.
Yeah. And I've seen, like I was saying, such growth. I mean, we're always going to grow, hopefully, no matter what we're doing, as long as we're on the path. But I remember, like, I really wanted to work with you when you were like, I'm thinking about signing up. Like, I don't know, like, you know, there's always that financial piece and you're not quite sure. But I was like, I really want to work with her, because I could feel that you were like, I want to help the world, and like, I'm giving this stuff. But yeah, the pieces that were coming out were like, I was like, I just want to like help mold this because it's so good, but like bring this like sort of this deeper sort of strategy that comes from soul, and also like, I don't know how to describe it, but it was just like such a treat to be able to help you. And now I'm like witnessing you in this space. And from where we come from, which myself included, when we're in that like go, like I gotta do energy, a lot of the pieces that come out of us, especially on social media, are kind of like, like, is this gonna work? Like, is this gonna work? Like, what do I do? And it can just feel scattered. And we also have scattered results. You know, maybe someone's kind of interested and maybe they're not, and we don't know. So then, like you said, we chill out, we do the healing work that never ends. And I'm witnessing you now, just like your latest launch just felt very like it was coming from that really deep place. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I kind of thought of something right now, and like, oh, really, it was just like they're in this deep place of like, this is what I would like to bring forward right now. And like, okay, now this is what I would like to bring forward right now. And like, for me, that's like more womb embodied, and we're all on that journey, you know, as priestesses, or as, you know, people on the priestess path, to come back into the womb and to come back, like you said, into that empty sort of presence, which is something that gets missed a lot in traditional, well, all the time, like basically all the time in traditional business trainings. It focuses, while I, you know, in Divine Feminine Business, we do teach a lot about, you know, marketing and, you know, sacred masculine strategy. What good is all of that if it's not coming from like a really deep soul place, where our souls are moving through us, being like, this is the medicine that I want to give to the world. So yeah, it's like, it's so cool to like watch you and all of us go on this journey. I'm curious, like, what is your relationship with the sacred masculine strategy part of showing up in this work? Do you feel like sometimes you get a little bit distracted of trying to get the marketing quite right, or trying to show up on social media quite right? Or is there a balance that you feel sometimes? If that question makes sense for you.
Yeah, I think It feels good right now. It feels like I've found more of a balance, but before Divine Feminine in Business, it felt like I was so out of whack in the fact that I was just doing masculine, masculine, masculine all the time, and it was burning me out. But now it feels more balanced. So I do have a daily sadhana. And so every day I'm doing maybe like my devotional practices or my yoga practices. And so then usually I'll go into the marketing and go into those inspired action steps. So during, I guess it depends. Like during the peak of that launch, like I was still doing my sadhana, and it felt like I was doing a lot of, you know, sacred masculine work. But right now, I haven't been doing a whole lot of those action steps. So yeah, yeah, definitely
Yeah.
find a balance. And I like to work with my cycle and the moon cycle. And I notice that when the moon is waxing and it's the full moon, I am like, I have so much to say. And I'm like posting all the time. And I just feel like there's words coming out all of the time. But usually when I get into my bleeding phase of my cycle, or maybe the new moon of the cycle, I notice that I just get quieter, and it's not even an intentional thing. It's not like, okay, it's the new moon, so I'm not going to post now. It's just like I completely feel it. So I feel like kind of the way that I move with my actions in my business definitely follows my own inner cycle, which right now is very much aligned with the outer moon cycle. Like I'm bleeding with the new moon right now. So yeah, but I feel like I kind of like peak for a while, and it's just like inspired. I'm inspired to just be like, bam, bam, bam. Like the words, like I can't type fast enough for like what wants to move through me. Like it almost gets a little bit overwhelming because there's like so much inspiration. But right now I just came out of a bit of an introversion, and I don't really have anything to say. I don't really have anything to share. I'm just kind of in content creation right now, where I'm sharing with people in my paid offerings, and I'm like loving that. And I was doing creation for the last offering that I just made. But in terms of just like sharing my message and showing up more publicly, I definitely feel really introverted right now.
Yeah, yeah. Which I think kind of goes against the grain of what you see a lot if you're going and you're signing up for free or, paid for business trainings or are a little more traditional. A lot of what you'll hear is show up every day, no matter how you feel. Post something every day, no matter how you feel. Just get something out there because consistency is important. And the thing is, for me, like when I've, if I've like ever gone with that idea, which is like very, very little, but like maybe there's, days, in the past that I'm like, I just need to say something because I have to grow my business. And I didn't feel inspired. And it was just coming from that like heady place. Like nobody fucking cared. Like I'd like post and I'd have like one like 2 hours later, like nobody resonated. And, that's like, when you're starting and growing, especially an online based business, but any business and all businesses sort of rely on technology and social media and email lists now anyway, even if you're in person. um, having that deep connection with the other person on the side of the screen is what creates your business or one-to-one, right? Having that
Mm-hmm.
connection being received. So when you're like in those moments where you're flowing and there's inspiration flowing through you, it's literally like spirits flowing through you, and there's so much magnetism in what you're writing. And I'm sure that you probably noticed that when you're in that place, that you do have more people sort of naturally attracted and resonating. So that's something that I, teach and share about marketing is like, if you don't like the words marketing, or like, you just like, oh, like that's like too like scary for me. All marketing is creating relationships with other people, sharing your soul while you're creating meaningful relationships. So, you're also, of course, doing that. That's what, we're in the practice of doing, is creating meaningful relationships. And we're not going to create meaningful relationships if we're just like, I don't feel, like if you're so introverted, but you're trying to force yourself to just show up and share and grow. So that's something that's like a switch for a lot of people, I find, and a lot of people that sort of come to me or I talk to. Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about your relationship with money and receiving money for your work. Maybe, we're all on a journey, myself included still, like we're all going through deeper layers of receiving abundance. But how, previously, how were you feeling around receiving money for your spiritually based offerings? And how has that started to shift as you're going deeper and deeper into your own path?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. And I smile as you ask it because I'm like, of course. Yeah, money has been and still is a sticky spot for me. And so I did my yoga teacher training probably when I was like 22. I'm 30 now. And I remember when I first came out of the training, I had no intention of teaching. But then I realized that I actually really liked teaching. And so then I thought, maybe I will teach. And then so when I started teaching, I remember thinking, I can't charge for this. There's no way that I could ever charge for something that feels so spiritual and so sacred to me. Like I should just offer it for free. And so I did a lot of teaching for free for a long time. And then I got to a point where I started recognizing, maybe it's a good idea for me to get paid because like I'm putting out a lot of energy and I'm getting tired and I need to receive more. And so it's been an interesting journey with money. And I started to recognize that I felt like money was evil. As I started doing wealth consciousness, I didn't recognize that I had these beliefs, but as I started to learn that I felt like money was evil, that I felt like I was completely unworthy to receive money, I felt like I wasn't enough. And I started to realize, like as I started to create this business, like before we were working together, that just nobody was signing up for my offerings. And I was like, what is going on here? Why is nothing happening? Like I'm putting in the work and nothing's coming. And then when we started to do that wealth consciousness work, I started to realize that I just completely felt unworthy of receiving money. And so I was just like energetically shutting myself down. And I started recognizing that there were some childhood wounds that had happened to me that were completely playing into my self-esteem and what I felt like I was able to receive. And so through, the ceremonial work with goddesses and through coaching work with you and through working, especially with Elaine Kalila, who holds the Priestess Presence Temple, I went through her Enter the Mystery, which was like a 12-month program. And I did a lot of really deep integrative work. And I found like after that, like the theme of that whole year for me was, so this would have been like the year after Divine Feminine in Business. The whole theme of that year was like healing the wound of I am not enough in just like all of the 13 different faces of the goddess. And coming out of that program, I really did feel like my self-esteem increased so much and my confidence increased so much. And I started to see that as I felt more confident, as I started to validate myself, and I didn't look to clients showing up or money showing up to validate myself, but when I started to feel like, oh my gosh, in my body, I'm so worthy, or I feel like I am enough just as I am, that I actually started getting more people signing up or just being attracted to my work or engaging with my work. And that in combination with doing that wealth consciousness work and changing my relationship with money, I found that was really helpful. And like without that work, I feel like I would be, there's no way I would be able to make any money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very similar for me. I share a lot that there was like those two pillars that really shifted my own experience of business, which is the wealth consciousness work. For those not familiar with what wealth consciousness work is, it's like really going into your beliefs, your ideas about money, about your worthiness, about how it all plays out in your life. A lot of it is going through your, parents' stuff that was imprinted with you, your ancestry, society, and really going through that. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. Something that I talk about, in coaching, Divine Feminine Business, also have some free stuff around it. You've also put out some free stuff recently with Wealthy Goddess. So there's lots of different resources for both Meghan and I that you can connect in with if that's interesting. Or like there's just search wealth consciousness, you'll find stuff. And then the priestess path, and that's like everything, like so many of us, if you're watching, like it's very likely that like, you know, you're a priestess from the ages, like you're this ancient, you know, being who has worked as a medicine soul, medicine woman, medicine man, medicine donkey, medicine whale, like just like a being of light throughout, you know, time, space. And for me, I think when I see, you know, people that are coming to me and they're like, I'm just not making any money constantly, like I'm putting stuff out there, I'm trying, or it's just not working. You know, like it's like basically what you said, but on a more general basis, is like when we don't feel like we're truly powerful and like we are the light enough of the day. So having those meditation practices, like whatever makes you feel powerful, whatever makes you feel, because we are so powerful, you're so powerful, I am so powerful, you who are listening, so powerful, like limitless light. And this patriarchal, reptilian, whatever the fuck you want to call it, society energy has like imprinted us throughout just thousands of years with these like locks and these like shields and these things that have like really like brainwashed everyone to be like, you're not worthy, you're actually evil, and a part of you is like evil inside of you. And remember that time where you fucked up? Well, yeah, now you can't have anything good in your life because like you're a piece of shit, you know. And it's like, even if we don't think that we have that going on, we have that going on, and I still have it going on. It's a journey. This is where we're unlocking that. So having these like moments of your day where you're in meditation, or you're surfing, or you're painting, or you're singing, or you're dancing, or you're gardening, or you're looking at the stars, or whatever makes you feel like, oh yeah, like I'm a child of the divine, and like I'm fucking awesome and powerful and amazing. The more that we have those moments, and my perspective and experience, the more that people are magnetized to us, and the more that we're like, yeah, I am worthy. And it's a while. Like I've been doing this work for over 8 years full time as an entrepreneur and a spiritual entrepreneur, and I am still so much working through different paradigms and beliefs of like, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, blah blah blah. And just because you have those things going on doesn't mean that you can't make money. It's just like, are you going to do the incremental work and showing up to start to release those, you know, programs from your system? We could go into like a 3-hour conversation about different tools that you could work with. But check out my website. I'll leave a link to Meghan's website. We've got meditations. We've got 3 videos. Come into the Sister Out of the Mermaid Moon. Pick up any, like, you know, you guys are smart, you know what we're talking about. So yeah, anyway, let me see if there's, okay, so what would you say to somebody who's like, so she's listening right now and she's like, yeah, cool, yeah, like that sounds, you know, cool. She's like, she hasn't started her business yet, or she's like just starting to put some social media content out there. She's just, you know, maybe she's like kind of like, this is the start. What is like 1, maybe 2 pieces of guidance that you would be like, you know what, I'd love to tell you this, or I'd love to share this with you, having, you know, been there not too long ago?
Yeah, I think the thing that I would say, because this is what I probably would have wanted to know at the time, is like, don't be afraid to invest in mentorship, and to not let money be that thing that holds you back. Because I spent so many years just like shooting in the dark, essentially. Yeah. And I just always wonder, like, how much faster could I have gotten somewhere if I would have just like invested right away?
Yeah.
So for the lady out there who's like, I don't have the money, also I'm like an independent woman and I don't like asking for help, I can do everything on my own, then definitely turn invest.
That was me too, honestly, same story. It took me like 2 years to invest.
Yeah. So totally invest in mentorship, and just know that, like, even though the money aspect is scary, it's like when you just listen to your soul and you feel that calling, that's the most important thing, is to listen to womb, to listen to soul, because there's so many people online, there's so much information online, and it's so easy to just be like, should I do that? Should I do that? Should I do that? And to just like get a little bit crazy. And so the second piece would to be just like literally just don't like pay attention to everything that everyone else is doing or think that you need to be a replica of somebody else, but that like you are your own unique gem. And where you're going to be successful is by tuning into your soul and to your spirit and to what your mission is, because that's what people are going to relate to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, I sort of recommend for people like, okay, your higher self is like your primary business coach always, you know, your relationship with the divine, your angels, but then like get mentorship because you likely don't, like, you just watch people and don't know what goes on behind the scenes to create that, right? And they're trying to like, oh, she's kind of doing this. But listen, find one, maybe two sort of people who speak a little bit about what you're wanting to learn about, and just like listen to them. If they resonate, like don't try to listen to 7 different people because you'll have 7 different paths and it'll really scatter you, which is what I've tried to do in the past. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And also, you know, I'd echo what you were saying about like, this, you could do this and do this and this and this. And like, just find someone you resonate with and like, you know, go with that. Which brings, you know, me to the point of, or to the invitation that for the next, I don't know when this is going to go live, but probably around for the next like 2 weeks when this first goes live, I'm offering my one-on-one mentorship, Divine Feminine Business private mentorship. So there's no live workshops with me. It's just like one-on-one twice a month. The prices are going to go up for that 30% in 2 weeks. And you're also going to get tons of bonuses in the next 2 weeks if you want to explore that with me. So if you have been connected with me for a while and you're feeling like, yeah, I know I resonate with you. Like, I think, you know, it'd be good. Reach out to me. We can do a free call just to see if it's the right fit for me to help you with your spiritually based business. And I'm really excited. I'll share more about that with the links below so you can read more about it and see what the awesome bonuses are. And Meghan, you know, if people are wanting to connect with you and maybe they haven't, you know, seen you before or aren't familiar with how they can be connected and with your work, you know, we're going to share your website. Do you have any like offerings or invitations that, you know, people might be interested in?
Yeah, okay. So I have lots of free gifts on my website. So maybe I'll just share a link. I have a couple that you can choose from. I'll share a couple. So I have one called Womb Nourished Mystic, which is 3 ceremonies. I think one with Isis, one with Mother Mary. The Mother Mary ceremony is incredible. And then one with Mary Magdalene. And so I feel like people in Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon would really connect with that.
I remember like Divine Feminine Business, like it turned out to just be this like Isis Magdalene fest. Like everybody was coming in and they were like, oh yeah, like Isis.
Yeah.
And I happened to be traveling through Egypt at the time too.
Yeah, you were on like you were on your Isis Magdalene pilgrimage at the time.
Yeah.
But it was funny, like everyone in there.
Yeah.
Here I remember you had lots of Aphrodite vibes, and I was like, I wonder if everyone in there is like really into Aphrodite this time. That would be so funny.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think that happened as much with this round of Divine Feminine Business. It's so good. If you're wondering more, so I have the one-on-one coaching, the Divine Feminine Business 8-month mentorship that includes the workshops probably won't start again until January. So if you're wanting to, or like maybe even a little bit later, I'm not sure yet. So if you're wanting to connect in and explore mentorship with me, you know, and you're wanting to do it, you know, fairly soon, now would definitely be the time. I'm excited. I just like, I can feel the women that are coming in for this next round, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited. I love you. It's like so fun getting to serve people like that. Okay, let me see if I feel like there's one more like quick question that wants to come through before we finish. Like, okay, this is like a rhetoric question, but like, are you glad that you're walking this path? Because there's lots of challenges, like, and you have to face your shit. You're like, it's not just like, hey, I have a business now and I'm making money and like I'm spiritual and it's great. You're like facing a lot of stuff. But what do you feel about walking this path of what I call divine feminine business? Like in general, I know that's kind of a funny question, but
It doesn't feel like there's any other option
yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
As in, I feel like I just wouldn't be happy. Like there would always, I could be as happy as I could try to be, but it's like, it just would feel like something wasn't right all the time because I just launched full time a couple of weeks ago and I've just been like so happy because I was walking that path, also walking a path that didn't fully resonate with me. And now that I'm fully in the path, I'm like, ah, I just feel so good. I feel so aligned. I feel so happy. And I also like being in the shadow and dealing with the shit. So I don't know. I'm a little bit weird. Like a lot of people are like, I want to go, hang out with my friends, maybe drink some beers. And I'm like, I want to go sit in ceremony and meditate and like, so it's just always been who I have been. And so for me, it's just felt like so great because I've always like loved meaningful and authentic connection with people and working for other people, working in organizations, except for one. There was one that felt really good for me. But for the most part, like I just always felt like I couldn't quite show up fully. And so it's just like, I like it. I like showing up fully.
Yeah, that's like, such a great thing about doing this work and being your own boss. And well, really, like the divine is your boss, and then but you are the divine, so it's just this like whole thing. But to just be like, no, like this is what I want to say today, and like I've pissed so many people off with like what I want to say, but like I get to say it because nobody can fire me because to say what the fuck I want to say. I'm gonna pierce whatever I want to pierce, and I'm gonna walk around, and that's gonna be the work. And it's fun, like you said, it's fun and it's challenging as fuck sometimes. Like just releasing all
tears.
Like this idea that like one of the biggest ones is like the man, we call the system, the society, like the man, like the man's gonna pay you, like it's like when you're in a company, it's like, my paycheck comes from the man. And when you like take that out of the equation, you're like, I feel like I'm just floating, and I like it's now I'm connecting with the goddess and the divine father. It's like that's for me has been a really big undoing of like the paycheck is just this false notion of security. And when you take it away, you have a lot of other questions and paradigms to work through to get to the core of we are prosperous beings in our truth, and the divine mother, the divine father is literally showering us with abundance every minute of every day. And are we going to really open up to that? So that's the path that both you and I are walking. I'm sure you who are listening are also like, I'm walking that path. But thank you for tuning in today. And like I said, you can find Megan and I both. Well, you probably know where I am, but we'll set you up with the links that you need that we talked about. So much love. And do you want to share anything before we peace out from my lovely people?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. It's been a chance to connect because it's been a while. And also, man, ladies, if you're feeling the call, I hope that you dive right so deep into it, because like the world just literally, it will organize to support you. Like it completely will. So if you feel the call, just take that leap.
Yeah. And sometimes it won't feel like things are organizing to support you.
But they are.
Just wait. Just keep breathing and wait. Okay, lots of love, and we'll chat to you ladies soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.